Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be spending time with one of my very favorite mathematicians. Her name is Marcy Cook. She's retired now to become a full-time gram, but thankfully her website is still active and you can go there to get materials that you need. It's a little overwhelming when you go to her website because she has so many materials that she has created. So if I can be of any help to you in making selections for your grade level, don't hesitate to reach out to me in the comment section below, or you can reach out to Marcy directly on her website, as she does include her email address. This is the very first book I bought many years ago. It has officially this weekend fallen apart, but it will get us through our time together today, and then I'm going to put it in a binder so that I can just keep going with this in my classroom weekly. The first half is with mental math with tiles, and I explained that in a previous video, but today we're going to be working with the 100 chart. Many of you likely have a 100 chart in your classroom. I like to keep, even though I'm what is officially considered an upper grade teacher, I like to keep a primary 100 chart in my classroom at all times. And when I do this activity with my students, I like to let a student go to the whiteboard and do the 100 chart activity up front in front of everybody. But everyone else is at his or her desk. I make copies from the 100 chart she provides and put it in a page protector, and they just keep them in their binders. So at 100 chart time, they just whip them out and we're ready to go. They move with their fingers through the different activities, the different commands that I give them. Like I'll say, add 19, take away 30, and it's really a formative assessment because let's say I'm at 52 and I say add 5, this is what you'll hear. You'll hear the tap, tap, tap of those students who need to count each box, and then you'll hear the silence from the students who can just jump to that box. What I love about Marcy is the fact that she understands that our students are all at different math levels. And so she has 3 levels for every lesson. I call them level A, level B, and level C. And you want to know something? After almost 30 years, I have yet to get to level C in a school year. Maybe this is the year it'll happen for me, but I've never made it. Maybe you'll make it, and if you do, would you please let me know in the comment section so that I can relish in your enjoyment, since I've never made it there. But level C is a 2-person activity, and so she calls it a 2-finger activity, where one partner starts at one number and the other partner starts at another number, and after many commands, if done correctly, they end up at the same place. This year, my students got it in their heads. They realized that they could use a dry erase pen to do this, and so many of them have done that. I'll say, start on 32, for example, and then they'll color that in. And then look how you move through. It's so interesting to see the number patterns that occur. Add 20, and they're seeing a real visual of what happens when they add 20. What does it really look like? Look what happens when you add 12. You move down 1 and over 2. Look at the visual for minus 9. I tell them to go up 10 and over 1 to the right. We practice that actually before we start, practicing adding 10, adding 12, subtracting 9, adding 11, subtracting 11. We just practice that skill so that then when we're in the activity, they don't have trouble. Another thing that happened newly this year, I gave them their very first assessment this week, and Lincoln asked, because I let them use tools, for example, we're early in the year, so I let them use a multiplication chart for their test. I don't let them use calculators for this test, but they can have a chart, surely, it's a resource. But Lincoln raised his hand and he said, "Can I use my 100 chart during our assessment?" Yes. In fact, he wasn't the only one that had the 100 chart out. I'm not sure if they were able to use it or how they used it, but I was just excited that they were trying to make connections of tools that they could use to help them along the way. Each activity has a lot of commands. Level A has 13 commands. Level B has even more. Level C has even more. And the way you do it is you move. It's important that you move from here to here. You just keep going from this side to this side. Don't go down. Go across. Keep going across, across, across until you get to the bottom. Because they're so long, I don't know if I should do a whole activity with you, and you don't have 100 charts. So let me just do a few commands to give you an idea of what it feels like. This is one of those activities when you tell the students we're doing it today, you hear the yes. Start with the number of eggs in a dozen. You'd be amazed at how many of our students don't know how many are in a dozen. This is level A. Plus 3. Add 21. Plus 20. Subtract 10. And you just keep moving, and you pace it according to their abilities. I like slower is always better. You're going to hear incredible vocabulary, like start with a palindrome that, and they'll give another clue of which palindrome you're going to start with. So it's vocabulary rich. As I mentioned, I gave my very first assessment this week, and it was really interesting. I had a student raise his hand this year, Josiah, and he said, I feel better when we do things in your writing. I said, really? Because, when I do my own writing, I always feel, ooh, are the parents going to think it's unprofessional? I don't know. But sometimes I just need to write it out myself. I'm not the greatest person at computers. You might as well know that about me from now. And I said, really? I said, why? And he said, because I'm less nervous when it's in your writing. How interesting that my writing could be a source of comfort to a student. So I said, guys, do you want me to write out the test? And it was unanimous. Yes, we do. And I said, your parents won't find it unprofessional? No, please write the test. So I did. One of the questions that I asked, and really to me it was the most important question, was tell me where you are on your math journey. And I'd like to share with you what Zara wrote. I'm definitely not, and not was as bold as it possibly could be. I am definitely not a math person. I've never really enjoyed math, but hopefully at the end of this year, I will. I hope so too, Zara. Don't give up. Let's keep working together. I wish you strength for the week to come, and I remind you that you are a math person, and you are enough. Goodbye.